How many of us have encountered or come across an atheist? Okay, how many of us have not only encountered but got into some kind of discussion and arguments? Okay, so those who have entered into those discussions, what is their number one strong argument? Can't see, therefore can't believe. So that's their Brahmastra. Then why so many? Why all the negatives? Anybody else? Suchitra ji? Why there is disparity? Why there is so much suffering in this world? So many gods and so many god men. So whom to trust? Better to play safe and not trust anyone. Okay, yeah.
Science is more powerful and there is no God.
Okay, science is more powerful, so there is no God. Anybody? Yes. There is no proof of existence of God. And even eminent scientists like Stephen Hawking said that God does not probably exist. Yes. Yeah, so I cannot see. At least, you have your father and mother who have given you birth. So they should be treated like gods. Rather, what are you searching for? In fact, they're right in front of you. Serve them. Anybody else?
Humanity is important.
Serving God. Yeah. Better than serving God, thinking of God, better serve humanity. Manav seva hi Madhav seva. So that's the argument. Anybody else?
The other argument is because you don't want to take responsibility for your life, it's very convenient to pass it on to God.
So in other words, you are weak and you're not strong-hearted. So you need a crutch, some belief, some faith in God, some Almighty. And whenever you have some problem, some difficulties, you can always go and कुछ तो कर लो मेरा तुम ही मेरी आस हो some prayers. It gives a soothing feeling. Good, you believe in God, fine, go ahead. Anybody else?
It appears to be phenomena backed by.
So it's a phenomena. It may not be a reality, but it's some kind of a belief, a phenomena which is so to say, thought by men or rather believed by men. Yes, you had some. Yes, Sunil.
Yeah, I encountered a person who believed in communist cycle. He believed in class struggle, not history is determined by struggle between rich and poor, not all the.
So it's quite clear, quite evident that there are different views and different viewpoints, different opinions in this world, and more so because God is not so-called visible to common man. So it's thought to be some kind of a belief, some kind of a faith, may be true, may not be true. This reminds me, there was a group of my friends when we were in college, and this group very proudly said that we are agnostics, we don't believe in God, and God does not exist. So that was their, main thing. To believe in God is outdated. जो हमारे पूर्वज थे, पुराने ज़माने के लोग थे, जो अंधविश्वासी थे, वो बिलीव करते हैं. हम तो हैं मॉडर्न दुनिया के लोग. We all students of science, we know what the world is, so we don't believe in God. So that was the kind of a belief or kind of a unsaid understanding. So this group, one of the friend, he happened to open a factory after he passed out. His father had a factory, so he also started a business of his own. And he invited me for that particular inauguration. And then he had called some pandits. and some puja was being organized. So I said Abhishek. His name was Abhishek. Name also was quite good, Abhishek. So I said, Abhishek, what is this? This is quite in contrast to what you have been propagating, what you have been believing. So then he called me to the side. He said, this I am doing in case God exists. You should not create problem in my business. Agar, if he exists, let him be pacified. Let him not disturb me in my business. Therefore, पुजारी को कुछ पैसे देके करवा रहे हैं पूजा. I don't believe in God. Anyway, अगर है तो let him get pacified. So we have all kinds of people, hardcore believers, people who are hardcore atheists, and then we have in between. अगर है तो ठीक है, नहीं है तो ठीक है, kind of a thing. So based on the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, actually, let me tell you very honestly, we feel so blessed. We feel so blessed. In this world of confusion, in this world where people think that nobody has understanding about these fundamental questions of life, believe me, our scriptures, our acharyas give very, very consistent and convincing answers. In the Gita, Krishna says, Pratyaksha avagamam, it becomes evident. Just like Narendra Modi is Prime Minister, it's not a doubt, it's not a faith, it's not a belief. We are convinced, we know. You ask a child, who is the Prime Minister of India? Narendra Modi. Because for him it's not a belief. Day in and day out in newspapers, headlines, Prime Minister inaugurates this thing and there's a Modi's picture there. So it's a reality for us. So likewise, in this world where people are bewildered, some people say there is no God, I am God, everyone is God, God does not exist. Even so-called intelligent men. And today in this discussion we are going to talk about what leads to this bewilderment. Krishna in fact talks about it in the Gita. Such bewildered souls. So it is, the credit goes to acharyas like Srila Prabhupada, like great acharyas who have seen God, who have realized God. Tattvadarshi, Krishna says, approach a person who is Tattvadarshi. Tad vignanartham sa gurum eva abhigachet. To understand that science, Vijnana, sa gurum eva abhigachet, you have to approach a bona fide guru. And unfortunately, as some of you pointed out today, Godman has become a very lucrative business. So everyone is becoming a guru. And who is that guru? Tattvadarshi, who has seen the truth. So based on his teachings, we'll be having the discussion today, and I'm sure you will find that it is not just a belief, it's not just a faith. Little bit if we are willing to submissively understand what Gita is saying about, it's very easy to understand, yes, there is a supreme creator, and behind this wonderful creation there is God. So let's chant this verse together. This is the 13th verse from the 9th chapter. Mahatmanastu mam partha Daivim prakritim ashritah Bhajanti ananya manaso Nyatva bhutadim avyayam. Am I audible in the backside? Translation. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So mind you, the word used is those who are not deluded. So in other words, what is the opposite of it? Those who are Those who are deluded, what will they think? They'll think of opposite of what is happening here. They will be under the protection of, again, as we cover, it will become quite evident. The first sign of a Mahatma, as is mentioned in this verse, he is under the protection of divine nature, Daivi Prakriti. Krishna in the Gita says, Devi hi esha gunamai mama maya dhuratteya. This Maya, Shakti of mine, it is very, very difficult to surmount. And this Maya Shakti, Krishna is saying, it is my Shakti. How many of you heard the statement, हम लोग माया जाल में फंसे हुए हैं? सुना है सब लोगों ने? एक्सपीरियंस किया? So, this Maya Shakti is energy of the Lord. Devi hi esha gunamai mama maya. Mama maya. Mama means Maya. Maya dhuratteya. Dhuratteya means very, very difficult to surmount. By the way, what is Maya? Maya is energy of the Lord which keeps us entangled in this material world. Just like this world can be in one sense compared to a prison house. Why it is compared to a prison house? Just like in a prison house, the independence of that prisoner who is inside the prison house is restricted. He cannot have things as per his wish. Weekly once he is allowed to make a phone call to his family members. After 5 minutes the call cuts. He wants to speak more. He wants to meet them. He wants to go home. He wants to have home food. But there are restrictions. Not everything what he wants is fulfilled. So if you analyze from that perspective, even this material world imposes a lot of restrictions on us. We wish that we don't become old. We wish that we don't die. We wish that our near and dear ones remains with us for all time to come. It's not fulfilled. Uncalled from nowhere, miseries land up in our lives. In spite of all our efforts to be happy, blissful, peaceful, things keep happening. Again, it's not a pessimism. We are just trying to objectively look at what the world is. Just like prison house, to say that prison house, the prisoner is meant to undergo some kind of punishment is not pessimism. It's objective reality of a prison house. So just like in a prison house, there is a jail superintendent who is the government servant. The same government which is supposed to serve the citizens, the same government constructs a prison house and appoints a jail supervisor whose duty to ensure that all the prisoners are kept within captivity and they are not allowed to go out. Moment somebody tries to get out of the prison house, in fact the jail superintendent will become even more cautious and watchful. So, without getting more into further discussion, otherwise the whole session can go on. So just like you have a prison house, you have a jail superintendent, likewise this material world, which is also called a prison house in one sense, this Durga Devi is like the jail superintendent. Durga means what? Fort, Killa. Just like to get inside the fort or outside, huge tall walls are, thick walls are there, so that enemies can't enter unauthorized. So likewise, this world, material world, is called Durga Dham, Devi Dham. And Krishna says, Mama Maya Dhuratyaya. It imposes a lot of misery. A lot of people say, no, God does not exist. Yes, because we are not under Daivi Prakriti. We are under the influence of Maya. And Maya's duty is to impose all kinds of misery on the living entity. And Krishna says, it is my energy. Mama Maya Dhuratya, and it's very difficult to surmount. It is said Durga Devi has 10 hands. Each hand represents 10 directions. What are the 10 directions? Up, down, left, right, 4 corners, and front and back. So from all sides you are held captive. You are being watched. Then Krishna says, Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. If you surrender to me, if you become a law-abiding citizen, if you reform yourself, just like we have in a normal prison house, you get into a prison house because you have violated the state laws, you have indulged in some criminal activity. When you get reformed, then you are eligible to come out of the prison house. Therefore, Krishna says, Mam eva ye prapadyante, if you surrender to me, mayam etam tarantite, I will free you from Maya. Now, there are 2 types of Maya. One is called Mahamaya. Mahamaya is what we experience in this world, and one is Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya is Daivi Prakriti, Lord's internal potency. So right now we are under the influence of Mahamaya. The Mahatmas, great souls, are under the influence of Daivi Prakriti. They are not under the influence of Mahamaya. Now, one of the requirements why we are entangled in this material world, can anyone tell me why we are, हम क्यों माया जाल में फंसे हुए हैं? Why? What has really bonded, so to say, entangled us in this material world? Our desires.
Because we think that this is what is the reality. We are not able to see beyond this. Everything that is happening to us, we that completely control the life.
हम लोग क्यों माया जाल में फंस गए हैं? Why? What was the beginning point? What was the starting point?
Because we have to go and wanted to experience. So God set us free into a world of His own creation.
We desire more.
The answer is Ichha. Ichha means desire. And Dvesha. Dvesha means envy. Ichha, desire to enjoy independent of the Lord, and Dvesha means envious of Lord. Ichha Dvesha Samuthena Dvanda Mohena Bharata. When one develops Ichha, desire to enjoy independently. And how do we desire? Instead of serving the Lord, when we desire that, yes, I want to be the Lord, then instead of becoming so-called lords, we become servants of our senses. Senses, our mind, our desires. There's a very nice verse. It's a very beautiful verse. I'll explain to you the meaning, and I'm sure all of you will appreciate. Full of wisdom. It says, Patanga Matanga Kuranga Bhiringa Mina Hata Panchabi Reva Pancha. Anyone can understand these words? What does Patanga means? Moth. Okay. So Patanga, this will explain why हम लोग माया जाल में क्यों फंसे हुए हैं. Patanga, moth, especially in the rainy season, we have some light, some bulb, something which is lit. All these moths gets helplessly attracted. And at times, it feels the heat. It's difficult for it to tolerate. But then it is helplessly getting attracted to that light. And then hovers around that light. And that very light, that very fire becomes the cause of its death. So which sense of that moth led to its eventual destruction? Can anyone tell me? The eyes. Eyes. It gets helplessly attracted to that flame of fire. Then Matanga. Matanga means elephant. You know, in especially wild forest, how the elephants are caught, wild elephants. They make a pit, but how does the elephant get into that pit? Covered it with, but why will that elephant go there? So there are trained female elephants, and especially behind this head there is a spot which is a very, very sensitive spot for that elephant. The female elephant is trained to pass by that elephant. A wild elephant is completely untamed and brushes that elephant on that particular spot. So they are trained she elements, and moment that elephant is touched at that spot, it gets completely aroused, agitated. And this she elephant is then further trained to lead him to a particular path. And on that path, they have a pit, a huge pit covered with a green grass. So this elephant who's got aroused, who's got agitated, he just madly follows that she elephant, and then that she elephant circumvents that pit, and this elephant passes through that pit which is covered by green grass and boom, falls into it. Then small little Mehut, 8 feet, 6 feet, goes and captures him, tames him. So which sense of that elephant led to its downfall? Touch. Skin. Patanga, Matanga, then Kuranga. Kuranga is deer. How many of us have seen a deer? I'm sure in a zoo, not in Mumbai city. Okay. So deer, you know, they run very, very fast. Very fast. Sometimes you would have seen National Geography, you know, a tiger chasing a deer or something. It's very fast. And it's very, very difficult to catch. Very, very difficult to hunt. And the hunters know one weakness of deer. What is that? No. So the deer plays, this hunter plays a very, very melodious music. And when that music is played, that deer which is running just stops. Like a painting on a wall, completely stationary with eyes closed, is completely absorbed in hearing that melodious sound. And then for that hunter, for a deer which is just completely absorbed, eyes closed, it's a plaything to shoot him. So what leads to, what sense, which sense of the deer leads to its healing? Ears. Some song. We'll play that song after this. Okay, Bhringa. What does Bhringa means? So this Bhavara or bumblebee, it gets attracted to the beautiful smell of the lotus flower. So it hovers around that lotus and gets so intoxicated with that smell, with that wonderful, pleasant smell, just keeps hovering around, and the sun sets. And you know what happens when the sun sets? The lotus petals. This Bhavara, which is so powerful, it can bore a hole in a tree, gets so intoxicated with that smell, keeps smelling, keeps playing around that fire, and by the time the sun sets, the lotus folds its petals. And then still it doesn't figure out that the petals have closed and it's got captive, keeps intoxicated in that, and by the time the lotus opens in the morning, it's dead. So what led to its downfall? The smell, the sense of smell. And then Meena is fish. We know the experts, fishermen, they know what the fish gets tempted with, the bait. So they take a hook and then they put that bait and then put it in water and then very patiently wait. They know what fish is going to do. And the fish comes, grabs that bait, and then still they are patient. And by the time the hook actually goes and captures them, and then with a tug, the fish is out. So that sense of taste, tongue. So this particular verse is saying, Patanga, Matanga, Kuranga, Biranga, Meena, Hata. Hata means killed. Hatya. Hatya किससे हो जाती है? Even one of the sense becoming weak and going astray, it leads to their killing. Patanga, Matanga, Kuranga, Biranga, Meena, Hata. Pancha bhireva. Pancha. Although their pancha means 5 senses are there, even one of the senses, even one of the senses leads to its downfall. Eka pramati, even one. Sakatham. Sakatham means what to speak of. What to speak of? People like us. Where all the 5 senses are completely gone astray. Sakatham. Sakatham. What to speak of? Nahasyate. Nahanyate. Sevate. Sevate means who is engaged in fulfilling the desires of all the 5 senses. And thanks to the advertising industry, so much of realistic ads. This reminds me, there was a person in Bangalore I used to visit. I think I've shared this earlier. He was in the advertising industry. He used to make some films for television, advertisements and all. Have I said this? Have I told this? No. Once, maybe a long time back. So he used to make those films, and whenever I would hear, his office was in a very prominent location in Mumbai, in Bangalore, in MG Road. Like you have, South Bombay, some very eminent places. So whenever I would go to that side of Bangalore, I would invariably visit his office, and he was very, very courteous. He would invite me to his office. He would hear and spend some time with me and all that. You can make out the person loves when you visit that person. So I went 15 days later. He was not there in his office. Secretary told he has gone for shooting. He's gone for some film is being made. He's gone for shooting. Again I went after 15 days. Usually 15-20 days I used to visit him. Again he is not there. And then I happened to meet him after a month and a half. And then I asked him, where were you? Long time. So the secretary told some film shooting is going on, he's busy with that, he's gone to Srinagar. So I said, are you into now shooting some feature films? Are you getting into feature films? 1.5 months shooting. So he laughed at me. Guess why? He said, Swamiji, we are shooting an advertisement. It's a real... The person who is making this ad is very demanding. For the last 1.5 months we have been shooting. And I said, what's the duration of this ad? He says, 30 seconds. 30 seconds. And in that 30 seconds, they want to come up with an ad which is so captivating, it hits you. It influences you. Why people like Pepsi or different companies have advertising budgets, crores and crores of rupees. And why they are spending in all this advertisement? Because it influences us. It influences us. And here we are in this material world, our senses have gone astray, and different colorful, realistic ads, or the billboards are there, huge there, alluring us. Ye karo, ye khao, ye piyo, ye dekho, ye suno. And what do? हाँ देखेंगे, हाँ खाएंगे, and that's how it's working. So this verse is saying what to speak of that person. All the 5 senses are gone, and more so in present time where all the senses, we have different kinds of temptations, allurements, thanks to the advertising, thanks to all the technology. 30-second ads. I should have asked him. I don't know. And brains were working. All the people, experts in advertising industry, sitting together, masterminding. What should be the script? What should be the visuals? What should be the what should be spoken at what time? Every second matters because 30 seconds, 45 seconds lacks in prime time, and it impacts. And more so in the after dinner, we are just sitting relaxed in the in front of the television. All that we are seeing is impacting. It's influencing us, influencing our decision. It's getting into our subconscious mind. And one more thing which probably I'd like to share. Now this Veda, now how do we get, this is not apparent. To enjoy the senses, to fulfill our desires, it looks an obvious thing. If I want to be happy, I should be eating nice things. If I have to be happy, I should be seeing something which is very pleasurable for me. I should hear everything which is melodious. What's wrong if something very for a man, beautiful girl comes in? What's wrong if I get into an affair, get into multiple affairs, extramarital affairs? It gives me pleasure. I want pleasure. What's wrong? So this is not obvious. What is obvious is enjoy. For a fish to go and catch that bait is very obvious. But to know that behind that there's a hook is not obvious. To enjoy is very obvious. But to know that हम लोग फंस जाएंगे, माया जाल में फंस जाएंगे is not obvious. ये ही संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुख योना ही वते. That very pleasure, ये ही संस्पर्शजा, which comes by sense enjoyment, dukkha yonahi evate, is the very source of misery. And then we say, Bhagwan ne misery kyun diya is? We have created miseries for ourselves. We have, based on our lack of vidya, lack of knowledge, lack of transcendental knowledge, we have acted wrongly and have got messed up. Any questions on this? Anything you'd like to ask? Yeah.
If we keep humans aside, isn't it the law of nature to be controlled by the senses? Because we have, we are in a position to think, right? But what about the animals? What is their fault?
You're right. That's why it is said, Athato Brahma Jignasa. Now that you have got human birth, try to inquire into the self. That is the difference between human being and animal. If we also enjoy the senses, we are polished animals.
But isn't it the law of nature?
No. Especially in human form of life, human form of life is meant for tapasya. What is tapasya? Voluntarily accepting some inconvenience for a higher cause. Because we have the ability to discern, to discriminate, to choose. A tiger cannot choose, should I eat non-veg, not veg? We can choose. That's why Athato, now that you have got human birth, Dhamma Jignasa, try to understand, try to inquire. Tamasi ma jyotirgamaya. Asato ma satgamaya. Asato, it is asat. It is untruth. It is maya. Satgamaya, come to light. Yeah, so am I trying to suggest that we should not desire? We should have the right desire. We cannot kill desires. We cannot stop desiring. Goal of life is not to become a stone which is desireless. Goal of life is to lead life with knowledge so that we have the right desires. And with this intelligence, we can understand what are lawful desires.
Many times we are able to see that this is not good for me, what I'm doing is wrong, this is not how I should be progressing. But why does a person, you know,
Helplessly
also say,
gets.
yeah, just why does a person?
This is exactly the question which Arjuna asked Krishna in the Gita. Krishna was asked by Arjuna. Arjuna asked Krishna, what is it that at times we are forced to act in a way, much against our wish, as if there's some kind of a push? Some kind of a push. I know it is wrong, I don't want to do it, but much against our wish, I get forced into it. Why? This is a question which Arjuna asked in the Gita. When Krishna says, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajoguna Samudbhava. This Kama, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of material mode of passion, which is an all-devouring sinful enemy of the living entity. What is Kama? Kama does not mean act of sex. Kama means desire to enjoy independent of Lord. The manifestation of that happiness, gross manifestation in the material world, is an act of sex. So what is Veda? Veda means, what is the meaning of word Veda? Knowledge. Transcendental knowledge. Vidwan, it's coming from the same dhatu word vid. Vidya. What are the other things? Vidya, Vidwan, Vidyarthi. It's all coming from word Ved, which means knowledge. So now the Vedas, these are all, now how this is not obvious, this becomes obvious when this knowledge is revealed by the Lord Himself. That is the meaning of self-realization. The Vedas is not man-made, it is apaurusheya. No one statement has changed over the years. Theories have been propounded and have changed. Dalton atomic theory, then Bohr came, then Rutherford came, different quantum theory came, and then after some time another scientist comes up with another theory and this theory gets outdated. No statement in the Vedas have got outdated.
But for example, every theory is revised over time because they come to know certain new things.
New things, you're right.
For example, taking that analogy forward, now in Hindus, when somebody died, the pundits say that this is according to the Vedas, so it cannot be challenged. And now, even if you rationally analyze, half of those customs are outdated and are meant for a different age. So, can't they be revised?
See, customs are outdated when the spirit behind the customs is forgotten.
But they are blindly advocating.
Yes, so that's why knowledge is required. Rituals and customs have a place, and they becomes mere ritual when the spirit behind the ritual, the principles why these rituals were originally instituted, are forgotten. That's why these movies like Oh My God have taken a dig on rituals which are done blindly, without proper understanding why they are done. Every ritual has a spirit behind that ritual. And if we do those rituals, unfortunately in present time, why this knowledge is very important, otherwise, just like I shared earlier, if you ask why we celebrate Diwali, तो पटाखे फोड़ने के लिए. The spirit behind the Diwali festival, all festival has a very, very spiritual significance. It's all lost. Because where is this knowledge being disseminated? So it's just become a ritual. Most of the people celebrate Diwali for what?
New clothes.
New coal, crackers, socializing, an opportunity to all that. Holi can flirt around a little bit. You can touch, otherwise which you don't want to, you cannot. Okay, no statement has changed. No one statement has been proved wrong. Can you believe this? Bhagavad Gita, 5,000 years back, things have come and gone, things have changed. iPhone started with iPhone 4, 4.5, whatever, 4S. Things are changing so fast. No one statement has changed. Has opinion about everything under the sun. Why there is so much misery, and consistent answers. It has to be understood in a proper way. There is no contradictions. Contradictions appear when we have half-baked knowledge. Consistent understanding of all observed phenomena. On one side we have a God who is all loving, other side we see a misery. It's a contradiction. There is no consistency. Yes, it looks contradictory when we don't have complete understanding. Therefore, Krishna says in the Gita, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance, all these doubts are symptoms or manifestation of ignorance, avidya, should be slashed with the weapon of knowledge. So this knowledge is very important. Like I've been telling, apart from we coming here and hearing once a week, it is important that we have this transcendental knowledge, touch of this transcendental knowledge on a daily basis, Shravanam. If we don't have Shravanam, even our spiritual practices will become mere rituals, will become mere some kind of, formality. Prabhupada says when somebody starts worshipping a deity in the temple, if he is not back with proper hearing, that worship of the deity will become a burden. Our chanting will become a burden. स्वामी जी ने संकल्प तो करवा दिया, प्रॉब्लम हमारे को हो गई. कौन बैठ के अब 4 राउंड डेली करे? कितना टाइम वेस्ट होता है, स्वामी को पता नहीं है. So it becomes a burden. Now, when it comes to an atheist, a lot of people say that I don't believe in God. But first, let's understand what is God. Who is God? What is the definition of God? When people say I don't believe in God, or maybe sometimes people mean something else. This reminds me of an example. There was a person, there's a cartoon. As one person, there is Devi Ma, Durga, this thing, and one person is praying, Hey Ma. Hey Ma, H-E-M-A, referring to Ma, Devi. There's another person is also behind that and saying, Hey Ma. He is referring to, in those days when this cartoon came, Hema Malini was the heartthrob, Bollywood. So both are saying, Hey Ma. But one is referring to Hey Ma, other one is referring to Hey Ma. So when somebody says, I am God, some people have the authority to say, I'll show you a cartoon. I thought I was an atheist until I realized I am God. I am God. Now let's understand what is God. God is a person who is the cause of all causes. Everything in this world we see there is a cause. White rains because of clouds. The clouds are formed because of sun. And if you trace back all the causes, the ultimate cause, the cause of all causes is God. Let's first understand who is God before we say whether I am God or you are God or God does not exist. He is the cause of all causes. Have you heard of this argument, people asking, has egg come first or the hen come first? How many of you heard this? Can anyone tell me which one came first? Hen came first or egg came first? How many of you say hen came first? Where did the hen come from? Okay. How many of you say egg came first? People are quiet for both of these things. What came first? Hen came first or egg came first? So if someone says egg come first, from where did the egg come? And if someone says hen came first, where did the hen come from? So God is cause of both the hen and the egg. He is the cause of all causes. And no one caused it. He is the supreme cause. Sarva karana karanam. God is that personality. Another understanding of God is the supreme controller. I may be controlling my factory, somebody may be controlling the house. We all are controlling different things to different degrees. But we all have limitations in our control. We don't even control how the heart are functioning. It's just functioning. Many things we don't control, it's out of our control. Bladder and bowels, to some extent we can control. Beyond a point, we have to answer. The way different functions are happening in this body, we are not in complete control. Not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Lord. We are talking about that God. By definition, that God, not a blade of grass. Everything in this creation is under its control. Sometimes we think these miseries are happening, tsunamis are happening, earthquake is happening just because it has gone out of his control. No. God, everything in this creation is under his control. He is the supreme controller. He is the supreme proprietor. Now we may say that this house belongs to me. I have proper documents, I've got the registered sales deed, registered everything, it's my house. Actually, in one sense, we are owners for a short time. To give an example, if you board a bus, you want to go to Pune, and then you go on sit in a particular seat, in one sense, you're owner of that seat for that duration of the journey. If someone comes and asks you to get up, he says, it's my seat. And then you very proudly flash the ticket. See this. This is my seat. Yes, it is your seat. Yes, you have the ticket. But after the bus reaches Pune, it is no longer your seat. If you happen to, sometimes you have connecting flights, right? You have to go to from here to maybe Ajmer, then you have a connecting flight to Delhi, and then you get on. Some people get down in Delhi and some people board in Delhi, and then they check the boarding pass. People who are sitting by mistake should not have an additional this thing. Now, after that, you're no longer a valid customer, valid passenger. You're supposed to get down. Till that time, it was your seat. Likewise, till we have short duration, I may claim this is my house, this is my land, this is my property, but I am not the true proprietor. A time will come, I have to leave. And somebody else will come and claim that is my land, my house. Now, for all time to come, who is the real owner? God. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the true proprietor. Another understanding of God, He is the supreme enjoyer. I remember when I was in college, there was an ice cream parlor very close to our campus. And it was very brisk sales. A lot of students would go, and especially in the summertime. And very popular shop. And there was brisk business. The cashiers were always busy, counting cash, and then the boys there would be dispensing that ice cream and all that. And especially in the night time, many times when we had gone late to that shop, I would see a person coming in a car, and he comes and then leans at the cash counter and says, "ठीक है, count कर, जल्दी कर, count." And the cashier, he quickly counts all that cash. He has already counted and kept some bundles of note, and then some 5-6 bundles of 100 rupee note he would go and give it to that person. And then he'll stay for 5-6 minutes, just inquire a little bit and then go away. Imagine those boys, whole day they have worked, the cashier has been counting cash, and then one person comes and takes away the entire cash and goes away. Why is he taking that? All that profit which is getting generated, the sales boys and cashier will get some paltry salary, some 5,000, 10,000 rupees a month. Whereas the cash generated would be in maybe those days, maybe in thousands, lakhs. They are just getting some salary, petty salary compared to the amount of cash being generated. Who is enjoying the profit? The proprietor. Because it belongs to him. The shop belongs to him. He has invested the money. He has built the shop. It is his shop. They are his salespeople. So the cashier doesn't rebel. He just very submissively gives the cash to him. And at the end of the month, he gets his salary, paycheck. Because he is the proprietor, it is not wrong for him to enjoy the results of his work. Likewise, the Lord, who is actually the proprietor, it is not wrong on his part to be the real enjoyer. We are like that salesman, we are like that cashier. Cashier also, yes, he does his duty, but because he is the proprietor, the results belong to him. When that cashier wants to enjoy that money independently of the owner, what happens? What happens? If he is caught, what happens? He gets sacked. He gets punished. It's a criminal act. Siphoning money. Because money doesn't belong to you. That's why Krishna says, Bhoktaram yagna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhuta. One understands that I am the real Bhokta. Why I am the Bhokta? Because he is the real Maheshwara, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. A Mahatma, a real person who is Devi Prakriti Ashrita, realizes that I am not the enjoyer, I am not the proprietor. So this bhakti is not a sentimental thing. Because you are a weakling, you cannot catch up with all the thing of the light, so you humbly surrender to God. No, you surrender with the understanding, with the knowledge that he is the bhokta, he is the enjoyer. A cashier does not meekly surrender to the owner. He understands that this shop belongs to him. Nothing wrong on his part. In fact, it is intelligence. If he does not surrender, then that's a sign of his ignorance. So those who are thus bewildered, who have no proper understanding, who think they are the bhokta, they are the enjoyer, they are the proprietor, such bewildered souls are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. Bewildered. And then, as we mentioned earlier in this verse, such deluded souls. Deluded means delusion, have you heard of? Delusion? And such Mahatmas, they are under the protection of Devi Prakriti, divine nature. Because they understand the Lord is the proprietor, Lord is the enjoyer. They surrender to him. That's why Krishna says, Mama Maya Mam Eva Ye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. Any questions on this? Yes.
For everything, God is the supreme proprietor. So for inclination given to any person, bad or good, it is not responsible.
Yeah, good question. The question is, if God is the true proprietor and he is the cause of all causes, then inclination of doing good or bad is also coming from him. So that means when I murder someone, God should be punished. Because he gave that inclination to murder someone to me. Is that?
Comes from him.
Yeah, comes from him only. So much God consciousness is not required. It becomes too much excess. Okay, so God has given us a free will. Okay? And the very fact, the meaning of free will means he has allowed us to act the way we want to act. So I have a free will, more so that free will is prominent in human form of life. Animals don't have free will. Tiger does not have a choice. Should I today fast and eat vegetarian products? No. Because we have a free will, we can make choice. And we are held responsible for the choices we make. If we make right choices, we elevate. If we make wrong choices, we degrade. If we make the right choices, we come under Daivi Prakriti, or if we make the wrong choices, we come under Para Prakriti.
But that inclination for right and wrong, is it come from God?
No. That in Krishna says, Samoham Sarvabhuteshu, I am equal to everyone. That inclination is coming from our exercise of free will. And that free will exercise makes us do acts which are pious or impious, good or bad, material or spiritual. And basis that we get the reaction. Now we will also come maybe towards the end, time permitting, why God has given free will. It would have been a wonderful world if everyone was given by the Lord directions to act in good ways. Yes, Sunil.
But if God has given free will in the Gita, when He reveals this Vishnu, He says that He knows everything, but which has past and which is about to come, which means manifestation. He knows.
So the question is, you remember we discussed this in one of the Gita Live session. Again, I'll ask this question again. "10 years from now, what you will be doing at this point of time, does God know, yes or no?" How many of us say God does not know? How many of us say God knows? 10 years from now, what time you will be doing what? God knows. How many of us say we don't know? Play safe. Let God decide whether He knows or don't know. हमारे को परेशान मत करो. हाँ? पत्ता भी नहीं हिलता. Yes. So पत्ता भी नहीं हिलता without Lord's sanction. It is different from Lord's will. If you have to murder someone, it is not that Lord has sanctioned. To execute that act, you require the sanction of the Lord. But because you have desired, you will be held responsible. That's why in the Gita, towards the end, after speaking the whole Gita, Krishna says, Yatha ichchasi tatha kuru. Now I have spoken the Gita to you. Now you decide what you have to do. Whether you want to fight or walk away. We have a choice. Today, to come for this Gita session, you had a choice. Did you have a choice? Yes or no? You had a choice. Basis the choices we are making, we are degrading or we are elevating. And to make the right choices, you require knowledge.
Why did God create Maya?
Giving the same analogy, why did government, who is supposed to be acting for the welfare of citizens, create a prison house and appoint jail superintendent who are going to punish the prisoners? That government which is begging for votes, saying that I will serve, it has an election manifesto. That same government invests crores of rupees in building prison house, appointing jail superintendents to ensure that they are held captive. Why? Because there are some people who will rebel against the laws, who will violate the laws. To reform them, you need a place like that. Not for law-abiding citizens. Now, you and me are not being punished, but some people are getting punished because we have chosen to abide by the laws. Satatam kirtayantomam. This is 14th verse. Always chanting my glories. Who are these people? Who are these people? Mahatmas. Always chanting my glories. endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So what is a natural outcome for a person who has the right understanding, who has that knowledge, who can see the truth, who can see the influence of Maya? Such great souls chant my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually means always, worship me with devotion. And we can always reverse. Mahatmas, Duratmas, those who are atheists, who are bewildered, they'll do exactly opposite with this. They will never bow down, they will never worship me, and no question of devotion. Mahatma is always engaged in chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord. Now, in this chapter and next chapter onwards, Krishna will extensively talk about Bhakti Yoga. The third, fifth chapter, Krishna talks about Karma Yoga, then Ashtanga Yoga, and now comes Bhakti Yoga. Now, Bhakti Yoga, broadly speaking, Bhakti also can be divided into two categories. Anyone knows? Two categories. One is Sadhana Bhakti, and the next one, anyone knows? What is Sadhana Bhakti? What are we currently doing? If whatever chanting little bit we have started, what is that process? It's called Sadhana Bhakti. Sadhana Bhakti means we are doing things and there are a lot of rules and regulations associated. Ye mat khao, itna chant karo, itne baje utho, itna padho. And it may not be very pleasing to us. Acharyas, Prabhupada have told us, okay, Swami ji bhi bolte hain, itna class mein baar bolte hain, chalo kar lete hain kuch. So we have started doing something. That's called Sadhana Bhakti. Attraction is not there. The taste is not there. The pleasure may not be there. But because Swami ji ne bola hai, Prabhupada ji bol rahe hain kitabon mein, chalo kar lete hain, dekh lete hain. That's called Sadhana Bhakti. The next stage is called Raganuga Bhakti. Raga means what? What is the meaning of Raga? Attraction. When that bhakti, the raga for what? Raga for Lord. When attraction to the Lord awakens, just like when you are churning the milk, a time comes when butter manifests. By doing sadhana bhakti diligently, by following the rules, just because acharyas have told, even though I am not immediately getting some benefit, I will be blessed with, in due course of time, Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti is when we serve the Lord, not because of force, not because of some rules and regulations, because of attachment. Raga drives me. Attachment to the Lord drives me. And that's why Vrajavasis, the residents of Vrindavan, they may not be very big scholars, but they have natural attraction to the Lord. And this Raganuga Bhakti has to be blessed. When we diligently follow the rules, do the Sadhana Bhakti as we have been told, we are blessed with Raganuga. Raganuga means attraction to the Lord. And then our devotional service becomes Raganuga Bhakti. Strictly observes, so initially it starts with strictly observing all the rules and regulations. What is tapasya? Getting up in the morning, we not liking it is tapasya. Our senses are demanding something, but we know it is wrong. To restrain ourselves, it may not be very pleasing, it is tapasya. To fast on certain days, it's not very pleasing. To restrain ourselves is tapasya. It's part of sadhana bhakti. So when we do sadhana bhakti, we are blessed with Raganuga Bhakti. You cannot jump yourself. You cannot earn Raganuga Bhakti. You have to be blessed with Raganuga Bhakti. And that happens when we diligently follow the sadhana bhakti. Now what happens to such a person? Engages all activities, mental, bodily and vocal, everything in the service of the Lord. When he knows that the Lord is the proprietor, all abilities what I have is given by the Lord, my body belongs to the Lord, I am Lord's, then the natural consequence of that understanding is you engage everything you have in the service of the Lord. And that is what great acharyas have done. Tan, man, dhan. Have you heard of this? Tan means body, man, mind, dhan, everything. Serve the Lord. Because not sentimentally, with the understanding it is not mine. Now when we give money, we think, मेरा पैसा दिया भगवान को, देखो मूर्ति है, मैंने दिया है. The real understanding, what, in fact, Prithu Maharaj is a king. In Bhagavatam, there's a description. Some sages go and ask him. He says, whom am I to give? I am just a mere caretaker. He was a king. He was a ruler. He says, who am I to give? I am just a mere caretaker. Because we don't have that understanding, we have ghamand. We have pride. Humility is a natural consequence of God consciousness. When a person is God conscious, he does not have to psych himself to be humble. He is automatically humble. When he accomplishes something big, you don't have to psych yourself. नहीं, ये सब भगवान ने किया है. People say that, no? हम तो कौन है? भगवान करते हैं. That becomes an empty word. But a genuine person, self-realized person, he may not even speak those words, but deep within he knows, who am I to do anything? So now the practitioners of devotional service, we have sadhana. Last week somebody asked me this question. As you know, we have been coming and attending Gita Lives. What should we be doing? What is our... Okay, chanting हम लोग शुरू कर दिया है, और क्या करें? So acharyas have said our life should be filled with two things. One is sadhana, our chanting, our reading. Janma sarthaka kari. We try to perfect our lives. We try to elevate our consciousness. We try to purify our existence. We try to purify our desires. We try to purify our eating. We try to purify our hearing. How do you purify hearing? By hearing the right things. How do you purify your eating? By eating the right things. How do you discern? Using knowledge. How do you discern what to see? There's so many things to see which gives pleasure to a person. It will not be in your interest. About 60 to 70% of all the traffic on the net is related to adult content. It is very pleasing to the eyes, may not be very good for the soul. So we require discrimination, discerning. So for that we require knowledge. So one is sadhana. Sadhana means to elevate ourselves by practicing the rules and regulations. It will gradually elevate our consciousness. Tapo divyam shuddhyet brahma saukyam tu anantam. Rishabdev says in the 5th canto of the Srimad-Bhagavatam, he is instructing his sons, human life is meant for tapo divyam. Tapo means, tapa means, tapasya means austerities, sacrifices. Not some kind of, lot of people are doing a lot of austerities. The place where we moved, we have a shop, provision shop, just bang opposite our place. So I went there yesterday. I asked him, what time you open the shop? So he says, 8 o'clock in the morning. I said, what time you close in the night? He says, 10:30 in the night. I said, how many hours you work? He says, 18 hours. He says, when do you have your lunch? He says, khana bhi just khade kha lete. That is tapasya, but not necessarily it's a divya tapasya. Tapo divyam. And when that tapasya happens, divyam shuddhyet. Shuddhyet means we'll become purified. And what happens when we become purified? Brahma saukyam tu anantam. We will become eligible to relish. Brahma Sokhya means real, lasting and eternal happiness. Right now what we are dabbling in is Maya Sukhaya. It gives us pleasure for a short while, but that very pleasure entangles us. It's temporary and it is binding. To understand that, we require knowledge. So the second part which we have to also incorporate in our life, Janma Sarthaka Kari. Janma Sarthaka Kari means we elevate ourselves. And what is the second duty which we have to do? Janma Sarthaka Kari, second one, fill in the blank. Karo Paropakar. Help others. That is seva. I elevate my life, and that elevation of my life gets accelerated. Jo karega seva, anyone like to complete? Wo khayega deva. It gets accelerated. Like the more you distribute, the more you get. This is true even in the material sphere. The more you give wealth away, the more you get. Now sometimes you may doubt these billionaires, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, they are so philanthropic, they're distributing their wealth. Is it that they were philanthropic in their this thing because of which they have become wealthy, or because they are wealthy therefore philanthropic? I would say because they were philanthropic, that is their natural inclination, they've been blessed with a lot of wealth. Even with knowledge, the more you distribute, the more you get. Janma Sarthaka Kari Karopakar. So now, to Karopakar, to reach this message to others, to help others, to serve the humanity, you don't have to be big Pandit, you don't have to know all the verses. Just the intent. Yes, I want to. A student who is in the 7th standard can always help a student who is in the 1st standard. He doesn't have to be a PhD, he doesn't have to be a postgrad. He's a 7th standard student, can always teach a 3rd standard student. So that willingness to, yes, I want to share this knowledge with others. In one place, Bhagavatam says, everyone is getting slaughtered by Maya. Slaughtered by Maya, do you understand this? Just like the goat is standing outside the meat shop, it's getting slaughtered, it's going to get slaughtered, but it's laughing. It's enjoying the green grass. So like that, in avidya, with agyan, we're getting slaughtered by Maya, but we are not aware of it. So sadhana we do, our practices, and we try our bit to reach this message to more people. And a simple way which you all can do, like we have been trying in different ways to get some more people involved in this knowledge. You can help us by reaching out to more people. One does not need to undergo severe penances and austerities. Srila Prabhupada has given a simple process. We are not expected to leave our families, we are not expected to go to forest. Being where we are, what we are doing, be there and hear about the Lord, serve the Lord, chant the names of the Lord, offer obeisances to the Lord, eat the right kind of food and elevate your consciousness. Guided by an expert spiritual master in any position, either as a householder or as a sannyasi, one can elevate.